You're listening to The Pulse on AMI Audio. I'm Grant Hardy. The 2025 Easterseals Disability Film Challenge advocates for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the entertainment industry. This year, once again, it was launched at the 2025 Sundance Film Festival by actor, comedian, producer, and disability advocate Nic Novicki, who is the founder and director of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge, and whom I'm speaking to today on The Pulse. Thank you, Nic. I know you're having a very busy week, so thank you for making time for us here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be on the show and I love what you do.
And you as well. We love the work you're doing, and you have been you've been acting since a very young age, I believe. So, can you maybe just tell us a little bit about your career and where people can find you?
Yeah, I've been very lucky as a little person actor. I've been in over 50 TV shows, movies. I've got to tour all over the world. I was in The Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire, The Good Doctor, Drop Dead Diva, Spider Man Across the Spider Verse, and I performed on 6 continents. So, been very lucky in the sense that I've had a lot of opportunities.
What do you think inspired you to want to be in the industry?
Well, ever since I was a little kid, I kind of had a knack for it. I think as a little
Mhm.
person too, part of this is, I realized that if people were saying things or to break the ice about me and my height, I always had the power to be funny and to sort of spin situations. And so kind of making light out of situations and making it so that right away the door's open, it's easy for me, easy for the situation. And I realized that, I had, I guess, a talent for that. And I found acting. I went to business school, so that was kind of a divert from the
Yeah, fair
entertainment
enough.
industry. But I love what I do and realized that there was nothing else I could do. And really early in my career, I realized that as a little person, if I wanted to be the romantic lead or a gangster, I was going to have to write, create, and produce my own projects because nobody was going to put me in the kind of roles I wanted to play. So I was like, the more I can do, the more opportunities I could get for myself. And that's literally how I got the vast
Mhm.
majority of the jobs that I've had have been from self-driven, either me directly producing something or working on other projects and building my network out so that I could get those writers or directors or camera people or producers on board with my vision and help me bring the team together.
So almost really having to create and advocate for your own opportunities is one barrier that probably people in the community are going to face. What are some of the other barriers that either you or just commonly you've heard about that people are facing trying to get into the industry?
Yeah, this is not an easy industry to get into, whether
Mhm.
you have a disability or whether you don't have a disability. If you want to enter the entertainment industry, you have to enter this because you love it. You want to do it. You could look like Tom Cruise. You're still going to have your struggles, no matter what. It's about perseverance. It's about being as trained as possible. I know that there has been some issues with accessibility around training, both in actual the accessibility of getting into the space, and also accessibility related to the how much it costs to get certain training. So those are barriers, but I think we're living in a new age of digital revolution where we can learn a lot from online, from YouTube. We can, with DSLR cameras, make our own content. So I highly encourage anybody that wants to do this, set dates, set goals, and set deadlines that make yourself accountable for working on your craft, for getting
Mhm.
acting exercises that you could do with your friend. You don't have to, make a major investment. You could do things on your own. So there are barriers, the same barriers for any actor, and whether you have a disability or not. But if you do have a disability, you should go into it knowing that there are also less opportunities. Historically, I think that I'm optimistic about the future, but we want to make sure to keep doing as much as we can on our own so that we can get
Yeah.
those opportunities.
That's totally fair. And just one quick other point, then we'll dive into the film challenge. Don't mean to hit you with a curve ball here, but it's something you brought up, which is really interesting, which is just this talent for breaking the ice, which I feel like is a big barrier for a lot of people. How do people develop that talent, especially if you're someone who's a little bit, I'm not shy, but I just find people get awkward and it makes me more awkward and then it makes them more awkward. Like, how do you do what you do to break the ice?
Yeah, I think I'm kinda lucky in that that was just part of my personality. I think it would've been part of my personality whether I was 3'10", a little person or not. I do think though, if we think of ourselves almost as a brand, we're in charge of our own brand. So, maybe it's writing a little script. If you could think of something that's funny, I know that there's been little people that have done kind of jokes about when kids would ask, "Why are you so small?" And they'd have
Mhm.
a little go-to joke about it, whatever it was. But I think it's something, and it doesn't have to be a stand-up comedy. It could be a smaller version of that, but something that allows you to, hey, this is the way I am. It could be truthful, it could be from the heart, a one sentence thing. But having a joke that you're kind of, that doesn't have to get a big kill, but sometimes it's
Mhm.
just easier, to just kind of have something that's like, yep, that's the way it is. You know how the weather is, something that just is going to get you from A to B, and then forget about the disability. It's just about what do you guys want to do together. Um, and I'm proud of my disability, so I never want to hide it.
Mhm.
I think that's the other thing too, as something to consider. Whether you're new, whether you're shy, whether your disability is new to you, embrace it. The world needs more diversity, needs more people that look different, and disability is a beautiful thing, and it's something I'm proud of. And so I think that the world is ready for us. And sometimes I'm from the East Coast, so I like it when people ask me questions instead of just think it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, genuinely, that's excellent advice that I'm I'm gonna take home with me and start trying that, especially going through different scenarios, just writing out maybe some some notes for myself or some good punchlines, something like that.
yeah,
Um, Brilliant, thank you, really appreciate that. So the big news this year, again, that we're having you on for is the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. I believe it's the 12th annual film challenge this year
that's
that's
right.
commenced. And can you tell me what it is and what inspired you to create the film challenge?
So, as I said, the vast majority of the work that I've had the honor of doing in front of and behind the camera has been self driven, with me writing,
Mhm.
producing, creating my own content. 12 years ago, I looked around and said, why aren't more people with disabilities creating their own work? We're so
Mhm.
talented. We're the most underrepresented population in the world in the entertainment industry. 25% of the population, yet we're in less than 2% of film and TV shows. So I created the Disability Film Challenge, which is an annual 5-day filmmaking competition where you have to have somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. Started off small, kept growing year after year. I partnered with Easterseals Southern California in 2017. So it is now the Easterseals Disability Film
Mhm.
Challenge. So it is making a 1 to 5 minute film. This year's challenge dates are April 1st to April 6th. It has to have somebody with a disability in front of or behind the camera. Films don't have to be about disability. It's just
Mhm.
about inclusion. And the genre this year is thriller and suspense, which I'm very excited about. And what's so cool is there's always a different interpretation about what that genre is each year. These creative films and projects come together, and you won't be able to have the full assignment until you register. So, step one is register before
Mhm.
March 31st and go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com. You'll get the full assignment, including props, locations, and then you'll have those 5 days to make a film. We give unbelievable prizes, including Dell computers, IMDb Pro, $5,000 production grants provided by Adobe, as well as mentor meetings with executives. We're sponsored by all the networks and all the studios and Fortune 500 companies. So if you go to disabilityfilmchallenge.com, you could learn about the challenge. But the coolest thing is, one, you will be making your own film that you own and can submit to film festivals. And two, the industry is taking note. The Casting Society of America shares with casting directors around the world, the studios, the networks. They share the films. People have been hired. We've had people that have been hired on multi-year TV shows that filmed in Canada, actually, from the challenge, just being a part of a film. So you never know whether you win, whether you're a finalist. You win in the fact that you make a film.
So these are short films, and they're filmed independently by the participants, right? Like around their own communities, and then you like submit them via the website to be judged. Is that the idea?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So it's open to anyone worldwide. All you have to do is go to
Mhm.
disabilityfilmchallenge.com. It'll walk you through the rules, how to submit. You'll pay a submission fee, and it is a very small fee. And ultimately, that makes you officially entered. And then you will get sent the full assignment. You will make a film with your own team, your own crew. It is all volunteer. Although we do have a favored nations agreement with SAG-AFTRA and the Canadian Actor Union as well that allows you to use professional talent without paying upfront fees. So it is all volunteer. We've had Oscar winners a part of this, as well as first time actors, writers, directors that just shot films on phones. So at the end of the day, it's about telling a story. Use whatever you have. I always encourage people go on your Facebook, go on your Instagram, go on your Twitter, email your
Mhm.
friends and family, say, hey, I signed up. Who's a camera person? Who's an editor? Who wants to help me make this film? And you'd be surprised at how many people want to join you and take part and be a part of what you're doing. And you make a film, and at the end of the weekend, of the 5 days, you will submit your film following the instructions we give you. We
Mhm.
download that, and then we put all the films on our YouTube channel, the Disability Film Challenge. Uh, and we have an awareness campaign where everybody competes to get as many likes, views, and shares for their films. Last year, we had 135 films created. So I think that's probably the largest push of disability content in the world, as far as I know,
Mhm.
that happens at one time. And it was really a remarkable, special thing to have all these films going, everybody in the disability community supporting, watching, commenting. So even if you're not going to register out there, I hope you can watch the films. You
Yeah.
can watch
Oh, yeah.
past year's films as well.
Tons of content up there that I'm sure would suit anybody's taste. And so there's a different sort of theme every year. This year is thriller and suspense, which is pretty cool theme, I think, for a disability film challenge. How did you arrive at that theme for this year?
Yeah, so we actually do surveys every year with what kind of workshops people want to do, what they are most interested in terms of a genre, and this came from that. People really want to do something different. Last year we did buddy comedy. The year before was romance. So this is going to be a little bit
Mhm.
outside the box of something that we normally do, but I'm excited about that. And I think, look, at the end of the day, I think it's so cool when we can be in charge of stories
Mhm.
and putting disability representation in a lens that hasn't been seen before. And there really hasn't been enough thriller and suspense.
100%. How does the judging take place?
Yes. So thank God I am not a judge. I'm kind of an optimist at heart. So generally, I like every movie. So when
Mhm.
people are like, "Why?" Don't come to me if you didn't place. It's not my fault. We have a team of 20 incredible judges, studio networks, casting directors, some of the most high profile people with and without disabilities that watch all these films. They narrow them down, and that's based in different categories. We have our best film, best director, best actor, best writer, best editor, and then we have the awareness campaign. And that is about getting as many likes, views, and shares for your films. So that is actually judged more from our side instead of the judges, but that's really more generated based on how many views and for everybody sending us what they did for their own campaign. It's a marketing campaign. At the end of the day, that furthers the mission of the challenge, but also the mission of the need for more disability inclusion.
And the clout that the film challenge and Easter Seals has is like really huge. We've talked about different campaigns on AMI, of course, but then I'll hear about them on mainstream radio across North America and television as well. Like it's a really big deal. You guys have gotten pretty huge, which I imagine is really feeling good because it helps to meet the goal of expanding diversity on the screen and behind the screen.
It truly does feel good, but it's been a collective effort. I gotta give a huge shout out to Easter Sales, uh, to all of our sponsors, all of our partners, and I gotta give the biggest shout out to all of our incredible Film Challenge
Mhm.
participants and the disability community that have been sharing, pushing the challenge to where it is, pushing disability representation to where it is, and there's just so much talent and support out there. So I'm truly humbled to be a part of this community, and the fact that we've been able to get so many jobs and so many people have been able to do exactly what they want to do. How many emails I've gotten over the years has been just crazy about people saying, I've always wanted to make a film, and through the challenge, I finally was able to do it. And now here I am, I'm screening at this other film festival, or I got this other opportunity. And, that's at the end of the day, I've been very lucky to work a lot as an actor and a comedian, but nothing has been more gratifying than that it's made bounds in the disability community, and that it's really led to jobs for other participants.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was curious about is you mentioned there's been tremendous success that's come out of past film challenges, but just thinking about the greatest, I guess just the impact for you and the participants personally. Like, what are some of those little moments or uh, stories, or I guess just what stands out as some of the highlights of the impact that you see from the film challenge?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest impact is the fact that last year we had 135 films that were starring and created by disabled artists that hit YouTube and that hit the film festival circuit. Over the
Mhm.
last 12 years, 750 films. So, we are really making waves in including more and more people with disabilities in the film festival circuit. But then individual success stories, it's been so exciting that Sophia Cheyenne, she ended up from making a film as a little person actress, spotted by the Farrelly brothers, uh, and ended up in filming Loudermilk in Vancouver for 2 years. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I actually play Lego Spider-Man in the film, but the producers, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, have been longtime mentors. They came out to us and they were looking for a wheelchair user. And because they were
Mhm.
inspired from the challenge, they created a role in a major, major studio movie. And Danielle Perez ended up playing Sun Spider, which is a groundbreaking role to have somebody with a physical disability in the Marvel MCU, as a spider character. And so, more and more success stories. I mean, there's just countless stories of casting directors that we've helped get, roles for actors with disabilities in TV shows and in movies. So it's just been so exciting.
Yeah, for sure. And you obviously you have some really cool cash prizes and other you know uh, those types of things with monetary value that you mentioned, but you also mentioned just the ability for awardees to interact with high profile people in the media industry. That's absolutely huge. And I don't know. Maybe you can talk more about that, just the importance of that in terms of equity and diversity, and some of the impact you've seen from some of those meetings.
Sure. So, mentor meetings we've had from, president of Sony to head of film at Netflix, Paramount Global has met with our participants, NBC Universal, senior executives. So these are people that are change makers that really have the ability to put people into pipeline programs, get them other jobs. So it's truly exciting that we've been able to be that resource. So it's
Mhm.
not just the sponsors are sponsoring the challenge, but we're there as partners for them too, to help facilitate meetings, give them talent. So it's been truly exciting, as well as the film festivals. Our winners screen at the Holly Shorts Film Festival, which is an Academy Award qualifying festival at the Chinese Theater. They've screened every year since year one. All the
Mhm.
winners of the Oscars are there, as well as Heartland Film Festival in Indianapolis, an Academy Award qualifying festival. And we just had four Film Challenge films at the Sundance Film Festival. And a past alumni, uh, who's by the name of Cameron Mitchell, has a documentary film called Disposable Humanity. And he ended up winning the audience award at Slam Dance with that film, which is a very important topic. This is
Mhm.
about the T4 experiments, in World War II, and how the
Mhm.
disability community was actually the first to enter the Holocaust, and it hasn't been, talked about enough or really recognized. So
Mhm.
that documentary goes into that. So, really just the community elements on how individuals are able to find each other from the challenge. We do a lot of community events, and from there, getting resources and building things out, getting relationships at these film festivals, and then being able to bring a feature film there, as Cameron did, or other opportunities.
It's so huge to be able to have those opportunities, that networking. You mentioned, I mean, when the Center for Disease Control says that 25% of Americans have a disability, but it's such a small representative sample on screen. And people are like, I think people are really craving uh, greater representation as well. How do you think we're in a place where it's just so tiny, so much tinier than it should be?
You know, I think there's a couple of reasons. First of all, this is a challenging time for the entertainment industry as a
Mhm.
whole, because of COVID, because of the strikes. There has been a lack of production, but there's no excuses. I think
Mhm.
we need to be represented more. I think the bridge between our population and representation needs to get closer. I think the path forward is us creating more. I'm of the school of I don't want to wait for Hollywood to come to me. I want to
Yep.
go and create my own work and do as much as I can, because we are also in a time when the industry is changing a lot, and I think that when the industry changes a lot and the distribution models change, that also becomes a great place because we're in the Wild West. So, what better place for us? We've already been here.
Yep.
We've already been, not getting the right amount of auditions or the other amount of things that we should have. And so, I think we're going to just explode in this independent film model, as well as in this model where audiences are tired of seeing the same content. They want to
Mhm.
see authentic representation. They want to see stories that haven't been told. And so that puts us in a great position. So all I could say is I feel very honored that the challenge is a part of that process, that the disability community has a lot of talent. And I also want to say that the casting directors and the networks and the studios that we work with have really been going that extra mile to bring in Film Challenge participants for auditions, for general meetings, for writing, for producing, for editing. So we're going to see more and more opportunities come. So I'm really feeling optimistic.
Okay, great. So there's still time to register at disabilityfilmchallenge.org. Fantastic opportunity. Um, can you maybe just talk a little bit about some of the other work you've done for Easter Seals as well before we let you go?
Yes. So I'm also on the board of directors for Easterseals Southern California, and as a comedian And speaker by trade, I've been honored to speak at a lot of public policy forums, as well as panels around the country. And I've the 100th anniversary of Easter Seals, which took place in Cincinnati, Ohio. I believe in 2019. I actually gave the keynote and hosted that award show. So I've had a lot of fun with the Easter Seals family around the country and around Canada too, because I've filmed in Vancouver quite a few times. So I've met a lot of folks, and I've seen those buses around Canada with that said Easter Seals.
Fantastic. We really appreciate having you on. Just want to give you the opportunity to add anything else, or I know we've talked a little bit about, advice, barriers, breaking them down, but just anything you'd want to say, to people who are struggling a bit, struggling
Yeah.
to get into to fulfill their dreams.
First of all, just hang in there. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. That's the most important thing. This is something that you do because you love doing it. Also, don't be afraid to take another job at the same time.
Mhm.
There's having another job, doing something else, can take pressure off you at times. And then when the right time comes, then you just go full steam into entertainment. But what I always say is do as much as you can, not just about creating content, but
Mhm.
about training. If you're a comedian, you have to get up on the stage. You have to be writing. If you're a writer, you have to be writing. If you're a director, a filmmaker, even just film some stuff around your house on a phone, something to just practice.
Mhm.
There are sides online. You could get sides. You could read it with your roommate, with your mom. Practice so that when you get that opportunity, you're ready. And just keep creating because you get better and better. I've seen it through the challenge over the years. People make a film, and it just the evolution of artistry just is so impressive because you make a film, and then the next year, oh wow, this is really cool, and then you're like, whoa, one
Hmm.
year, what happened, and
Yeah.
so it's just the more you do it, the better you get. And I think that goes for everything: acting, writing, directing, producing. And don't be afraid to bring your community together. You all have a community. You have people. Use your Facebook, your Instagram, set deadlines. Say, I'm going to work on my acting uh, this month, and maybe by next week, I'm gonna do a scene study. I'm gonna act in a scene with a friend, or I'm gonna write a short film. I'm gonna do something. So set deadlines for yourself and bring in people, because you'd be surprised how many people want to help you that are in your life.
Nic, really appreciate the advice, the work you're doing, and we appreciate you coming on The Pulse today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks again to Nic Novicki, founder and director of the Easterseals Disability Film Challenge. If you would like to register or just follow the film challenge, you can visit disabilityfilmchallenge.com. The Pulse airs on Tuesdays and Thursdays on AMI Audio at 1:30 p.m. Eastern and repeats every 6 hours. You can also listen to it on YouTube or in your favorite podcast app. I'm your host, Grant Hardy.